Hello, I wanted to do another video about Concord and update you on what's going on regarding the game. Not much, to be honest. Just slowly dying. I say slowly, it's actually pretty quick. My previous video was only a few days old, and back then, the game had 660 players. A couple of hours ago, I checked Steam charts, and 55 was the number, which is not very high. Concord is a 5 versus 5 game, which means if you were to remove any form of possible skill-based matchmaking that may be in the game, you could get 10 matches. That is how many matches of Concord can be played at maximum right now on PC. 10. If we add in the players on PlayStation, which, yes, I believe there's more, but not many more, there was a YouTuber, I forget the name, but I saw the video a few days ago, that deep dived into this and looked at how many accounts had received achievements or trophies on PlayStation for playing Concord, to get a good idea of how many people actually have the game installed, and I think it was like 1,250, so you know, by now some of those players would have also left, and let's assume that the player base combined on both platforms might be 400 or 500. Again, you're still not getting many matches. What's crazy to me is that Sony just don't seem to be acknowledging it. They're still doing marketing material for this game. They paid YouTubers to play this. They've paid people to put it on their Instagram stories, on TikTok, etc. They have obviously paid some gaming articles and reviewers, etc., to do some videos and articles on the game, giving it a positive outlook. IGN rated it a 7. IGN pretty much rates everything a 7, so yeah. I don't think anyone is falling for these articles and these reviews and these paid sponsorships, though. I don't understand why Sony is still doing them. Because you've got the truthful articles, for example, this one here that says, players complain of lengthy PS5 matchmaking times as Concord numbers dwindle. And then you've got another article by Forbes that says, Concord Week 1, sub 200 Steam players, 56th in PlayStation sales. Paid for journalism and reviews, etc. just don't make sense to do in today's day and age, when it's so easy for other news outlets to come out and reveal the truth minutes later. Of course, the numbers speak for themselves. People can continue to talk about how, although player numbers may be low, the game is actually good. But don't you think if the game was actually that good, people would be sticking around, and it seems like they are not. The game is apparently, as lots of AAA releases are today, filled with bugs, doesn't have much content, and there is a bit of connectivity issues such as lag. And not being able to find matches, spending, 8 minutes searching for a game because there's a low player count will only add to the frustration on top of these things. Now we're going to take a look at an article about Concord here by PC Gamer, which many people have pointed out doesn't really have the same tone of voice as other articles. This one says the eagerness to grave dance on unpopular games has become a bad habit. Now this article basically goes on to insult tens if not hundreds of thousands of gamers by suggesting that we think we would have had the common sense to see that this game was a flop, and we wouldn't have chased trends, and we would have avoided releasing Concord. And that, we think that all of the CEOs of the gaming world are out of touch and creatively bankrupt, that are just tracing whatever is the fad right now, etc. Which is a crazy thing to say, because we actually do know that this is exactly the case. And I mean, I wish I probably would get in trouble for this. I want to say I could prove it, but I've had meetings with, for those who don't know, that I've been involved with the release of video games before. I have my own indie game that I'm working on. It's not going to be the biggest thing in the world, but still, it's 4 years of work. We'd have conversations with investors, publishers, etc. And these people genuinely do dive into meetings and suggest things like, hey, we know your game is a third-person shooter, but have you ever thought about maybe twisting things and going more in the extraction shooter or battle royale genre? It's really popular right now. Like, that's legitimately what they try and bring to the table, is the knowledge that, ooh, this genre is on top, so you should twist in this direction, because if we can get a piece of this pie, we'll be in the money. I mean, hell, one time a publisher tried to tell me that the correct way to promote my third-person shooter project would have been to go to huge gaming events such as E3, Gamescom, etc., PAX, whatever, and have, like, musicians performing and dancers on a stage and things like that to promote a game. They are incredibly out of touch. They don't know what they're doing. I think that people who are, like, chronically online actually understand a lot more about the gaming and social media landscape and people's opinions and stuff like that than gaming execs do. Gaming execs are not in touch with the real world. They are living in their glass house where they make tons of money and they have, a couple of successes and they think, this is it. Every game must be like this. We must make every game a battle royale or a hero shooter or a class-based shooter or an extraction shooter or whatever it may be. Anyway, this article then goes on to say that the person who writes it believes the real reason for all of the grave dancing is that it feels like a victory over FOMO, the fear of missing out. Now, this just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, what are we missing out on, right? Like, the game costs $40. If the game was good, then we would simply purchase it for $40. And then, what are we missing out on? We have the game, if anything, the fear of missing out is more prevalent in free games. Because obviously you have things like timed events or exclusive skins or daily items in the shop that will vanish after 24 hours. So you have a fear of not getting them and maybe, it will take 5 months for that thing to come back. So I have to buy it now. I have to spend my money now. But if a game is priced at $40, I don't have to spend my money now. I can see what reviews say. I can ask any friends that have played. I can watch reviews. I can read articles. And if it's good, I can spend the money. Maybe I wait for a sale if I can't afford it. There's no such thing as missing out. There's no such thing on missing out when something is not a timed exclusive. So this makes absolutely no sense. How is this a victory over FOMO? Now, if we find the guy who wrote this article, he's called Tyler Wilde, the editor-in-chief from the US. I found his Twitter, and ironically, he tweeted a few things over the past few days. His tweet on August 22nd, I hate it when people do this thing everyone likes is actually bad thing about something I like, but I love to do it about other things people like. I refuse to learn a lesson. So basically, you're a bit of a hypocrite. You've contradicted yourself. And then also 2 days later, he said, I really thought Concord would do alright when I first played it, but it must have been the old man Quake player in me whispering, there are health pickups, it can't fail. So, yeah, this guy also hasn't posted since then. And as I said, this guy is a hypocrite. He actually did make an article about Redfall when that came out. And said that Redfall was 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot in the rave, and it added an offline mode and big gameplay changes in a beefy final update ahead of the studio's closure. He farmed the absolute living hell out of the downfall of Redfall. So, yeah. Overall, my guess here is that they just needed some clicks and they just wanted to, farm some engagement. They do this every so often. I mean, they made an article about Elon Musk calling a judge Brazil's Darth Vader yesterday, which got 1,100 likes and 450,000 views. But then you can check their actual journalism about video games and you'll see that it's significantly lower, such as doing an article on Star Wars Outlaws that only received 13 likes and 13,000 views, significantly less. I believe 1 month they were starving so much that they made an article on the sexiest female video game characters and, more stuff like that. So, yeah. I don't think PC Gamer has been relevant for a while, although they are one of the biggest gaming, articles out there, outlets, whatever you want to call them. I just don't think anyone really cares about them anymore. So yeah, they probably needed some clicks, and that's what led to this particular article about Concord. So there we go, just wanted to talk about that article as well as a couple others, and the state of the game in general. I've said it before, I'll say it again to end off the video. I think, along with many others, this game needs to go free to play if it wants to recoup as much money as it possibly can from the insane development budget that it had, and then likely it just needs to slowly die off. That is probably the correct course of action, because nobody's going to pay for this game. Even if they were to release tons of extra content, which apparently they plan to do. I think they said they have a roadmap for this game. So the 100 players that are online will, I'm sure they'll really care about that and be very thankful. They plan more maps, game modes, characters, whatever, the usual stuff you'd expect from a free-to-play game that has seasonality. So they should probably just go free-to-play. Maybe a couple thousand people will pick it up and they can make some more money, and then, as I said, slowly die off. And that's it. Yeah. There's no way of saving this, really. There's absolutely no way of making your money back. There's no way even you're going to make half of that. So yeah, just do the correct course of action to make as much of a recoup as you possibly can, and move on to the next thing. Learn from this lesson. That's it. This is probably the final time I'll cover Concord, unless something absolutely major happens. But yeah, that's it. Alright, thanks for watching. Please like the video and subscribe, and if you want to join my Discord server, then feel free. I think we've got about 54 people in there now. It would be nice to get some more members in there. And yeah, that's it. Goodbye.